Hi, everyone. Well, as we already talked and discussed in our last meeting, we need to improve our filtering and also our progress in the analysis for this review, for this systematic review. So we need to fill some terms, like for filtering or even for getting some advances in the analysis, and that are going to be mostly seen in the classification of the articles, like methodologies, where or what type of ecosystem services are being mapped. So I'm sending you this video to show you this Excel format, this Excel sheet that we can use for grading every one of us, to writing on every term that we think that should be included in several categories. As expected, some categories or some terms can be related to more than category or to one class. It doesn't matter. It's just to put some terms and to be capable to have all this universe of words that are related to something that we want to find. So it doesn't matter if they can be like exactly, it doesn't need to be exactly like, okay, if we're talking about foods, only crops. No, we maybe, I don't know, fruits, vegetables, I don't know, something like that. That also can be used as fiber. Well, so it doesn't matter. If we can use as many terms, we can have as many, the biggest panorama and the biggest universe, So in this file, we have several sheets that are the what, the who, the where, the how. You can add as many sheets as you want. It doesn't matter. It's just like at a start. So the first four are the what. For instance, what ecosystem services are mapped, and I'm using the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment framework for this classification, as you already know: provisioning, regulating, and cultural services. And if you see here, we have the main class and related terms. The main class is just a way, like the most generic way to refer to this, to the several words that can be involved. So for instance, provisioning has foods, food, and some related terms that we can use is crops. Also, we can talk about fruits, right? Or seeds, for instance, seeds or fruits. We use the star here for, for including plural or singular. We also have water, for instance, hydro, rain, precipitation, or anything, precipitating lodging, floods, etc. Right? So what we should do here in this phase is to put as many words as we can think about, for being the most inclusive. For instance, if someone has some knowledge about what genetic resources can be mapped, maybe, I don't know, plants, I don't know, something like this, it's very generic, of course, but it's going to give us some more, as many words as we want, right? So you have all this just as a reference. You can add another class, another main class, is as many related terms as you want. Okay, so this is for the what. And for the who, we want to ask about what actors are involved with for or in the mapping, right? For instance, I'm just giving some suggestion, type of stakeholders of communities, right, of local communities. For instance, in minorities, we can use that are not minorities, of course, but as many times as we are being referred to this. But for instance, indigenous, native, Afro, African, and Black, for instance, if you want. Gender, woman, and trans. And for general, for instance, I want to talk about local communities or communities. What happens if we use local communities, for instance, as a word? Okay, it can be used, right? It doesn't matter. Social can be as many social things, but we're referring to this. The where, for instance, is the type of landscape that you can also improve. Like this is just it's just some thoughts. For instance, urban. When we talk about urban, in the type of landscape we use city. I don't know. Maybe you want to add another type of related terms. For instance, for rural, we want to know country. And we also might use crops, but as we already use it in what, we're supposed not to use it, in this, because it's going to create a double counting. But it doesn't matter. If you don't want to get messed, you can write it, and later in the algorithm, we can eliminate or, to reduce the frequency. For instance, for forest, we want to talk about trees or jungle that are related. For coastal, we want to know about ocean, sea, or maybe beach. For first water, for instance, we can use basin or watershed or other terms, right? For how, what tools or methods are used? Yeah. And for instance, we can use here the main class, for instance, spatial map that is already here, cartography, land use or land change. And for instance, we can write it like this or write this. Doesn't matter because many articles only write land look, or they can write land use or land change. The temporal, for instance, we use dynamic, etc. You see, statistical, for instance, is a main class. Even when we are using statistical models, we can define another different type of main class as a statistical, right? So we can use maybe like here, numeric or whatever we want. For instance, also another methods, for instance, consultancy of experts. We are talking about assessment or even evaluation, So these are just for you to a guide for you to increase this list of words. And I was also asking you for you to include the reference to be, to have in mind for these categories. For instance, as I told you, I use the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment for this, what type of ecosystem services that are these. So I put this here, right? So we can, for instance, if we want to talk about what is local communities, okay, for local communities, I use another type of research, right? So we should include it here. So it's only this. If you have any, I don't know, any inquiries or something, you can talk to me anytime, please. Thank you.